Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session. I appreciate everyone taking some time out today. I understand it's a holiday for some, so didn't notice that when we set up this session, but we'll record it. It will be available for playback for those of you that can attend, or those of you that want to watch it over again, or even share it with some of your colleagues. I would expect that we'd be able to have that ready later on this week, and we'll blog that out. So if you are on our blog newsletter, make sure to see that playback or look for that playback later this week. This should be just a 1-hour session, no longer than that. Hopefully it's actually shorter than that. And if you have some questions, today's session, I do have everybody muted because we do have a pretty large audience on here. And for that reason, just to ask your questions in the chat window. It's no different than some of the webinars that we've done before. What we're going to discuss today are some new product releases. The InterGeo conference starts in Germany tomorrow, and traditionally when that starts, there's some updates to some of the products and some new product releases, things like that. And we're going to kind of put some of those pieces together for you here today. Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so here's a quick agenda, just really 3 bullets. We're going to talk about some updates to existing solutions that a lot of you are aware of or use today. We're going to talk about some Trimble product updates, and that might include some new solutions that are going to be new to a lot of you. And then discuss some of these workflows and how they kind of interact. So if we look at the survey and portfolio that Trimble has and some of their solutions, you can see today that there's a lot of synergy around Trimble Access and Trimble Business Center that help create a common connection to a lot of these devices, whether it's the robotic total stations, the imaging product like the V10, the GNSS solutions like the R8S or R10. Trimble Access has a seamless workflow to a lot of these devices, so that when you're out in the field, you can operate and connect to a lot of these things seamlessly, and create a common workflow so that you can work in one job within all of these devices. And you see this trend that we have today towards this. A lot of new technologies, a lot of things that customers are asking for, and this commonality, this common workflow seems to be kind of the trend that we're going towards. So I wanted to kind of make sure to understand that that hasn't changed, and it's actually being enhanced as we move forward. So we look at that, it's really centered around these 2 solutions: Trimble Access for the field, controlling your robotics, your GNSS, your imaging, specialized modules to really drill down and tailor that workflow, and Trimble Business Center that handles it on the software side. So whether it's robotics, GNSS, imaging, things like that. And before I continue, the one thing I did not do, and I apologize for, is I didn't introduce myself. A lot of you maybe recognize my voice, but this is Steve Richter with Frontier Precision. I have one of my other colleagues, Wes Schneider, who's also in my office. Just he's going to be my straight man today, so if I lose audio or anything like that, or if things aren't coming across properly, at least to have somebody on the back end to at least jump in and say, hey Steve, we can't hear you, or we can't see something. So again, as I mentioned in the beginning, the rest of you are muted, unfortunately, just so we don't get a lot of background noise. So if you do have questions, type them in the chat window, please. So if we think about this commonality and how we control our systems, you're going to see this trend as we go forward to have one device, one software, things like that, control a lot of things. So, but as we saw in the previous slide here, a lot of these technologies are either integrated as a integrated survey. As an example, if you're using a robotic total station and a GNSS receiver in the field, you have two separate technologies working at the same time connected to your controller or Trimble Access. And so your rod might have a prism and a total station on it. Or if using the V10, your rod may have a V10 imaging camera and a GNSS receiver on it. So one of the things that Trimble did is they introduced a brand new piece of equipment, a brand new hardware piece that is truly a scanning device with imaging and robotic total station technology built into one device. So again, bringing in those synergies within the Trimble SX10, and you will see that being introduced to the rest of the world at Intergeo tomorrow, and introduced to you guys today. So I'm very pleased to be able to bring this product to you and talk about it a little bit here today. So the device you see here is pictured, that is the Trimble SX10. It is a scanner that works like a total station or operates under the same workflow that you work at today with Trimble Access and with Trimble Business Center. It does have some new technologies built into it that are new to us. This Lightning 3DM technology I'll talk about just a little bit, as well as enhanced vision and tracking technologies. And keeping on that theme of operating under those traditional workflows, the Trimble SX10 does operate with the existing Trimble Access field software, does operate and process within familiar Trimble Business Center. So the uptime and the ability to get field crews and users familiar with the solution is a lot faster. So if we take, for example, a traditional scanner and that's being used today, it's a whole different operation. It doesn't connect to Trimble Access. It doesn't process in Trimble Business Center. You use a third-party software to do that, or you operate the scanner from the scanner itself and not use a common workflow. So this gives us a lot of abilities to run a traditional scanner in a standard survey workflow. So for example, here I've got a grid and ground coordinate system. So now we can actually set up an instrument, scan at a high rate, and work within a common coordinate system that we use today, whether it's a county coordinate system, a state plane grid coordinate system, or a converted to ground coordinate system. You can actually get your scan data and your total station data in one device in that same common coordinate system. That is something that we haven't been able to do today. It's been an ask for many of our customers, especially scan customers. So we do have that ability now with the SX10. If we look at some of the specifications of this new instrument, it does a lot of stuff. So first of all, it is a 1 second accurate instrument. There isn't going to be a model 2 second or a 3 second or a 5 second gun. This is a 1 second gun, one instrument that does everything. Direct measurement mode is the most accurate measurement mode in the industry with the smallest spot size in the industry. Long range, you can see the range of the scanner is 600 meters effective range. So extremely long range scanning capabilities, and it scans at a rate of 26,000 points per second. So 26,000 points per second, that's going to be one of the most common questions. So it is operating like a true scanner, not like you saw with a VX or an S7 that stops, points, and shoots. And it also has the scanning capabilities in workflow so that even when it's doing a full dome scan, it's just going to blow by all that fluff noise if it shoots into the sky, as an example. The vision system on this instrument is 5 integrated cameras. So it has a overview and primary camera. We'll talk about all these a little bit. A coaxial telescope camera, so there's no objective, kind of like your traditional total station. It has a video plummet, so I'll talk about that, as well as the camera tracker to use and aid in robotic operations. Some of the benefits of an instrument like this are the incorporation of 3D scanning technology into a familiar workflow. That's a huge benefit and something that a lot of people have been asking for. And it actually is a prohibitor of a lot of organizations not using scanning because they can't use it in a traditional workflow setting. For instance, you have to set up targets and register the scans, and that takes a lot of time, and it creates some inefficiencies, and it's new to a lot of people. It isn't a standard survey workflow. Where with this product, you're setting up over a known point, or you're resecting, you're doing standard robotic operations, and the targeting registration process is eliminated with this particular product. Full integration with TBC and Trimble Access, as well as Trimble Realworks. So again, we're using a familiar interface, so that reduces our training, it reduces our knowledge requirement, as well as tailoring our data capture to our project needs. So I can scan, I can robotically total station operate, I can take images, I can do all of those things within one instrument, and I'm not changing devices, or I'm not integrating them like we talked about at the beginning of this session. I can collect high density point clouds with high resolution imagery, and then improving my back office communications, and capturing missed items back in the office from scan data or imagery to avoid all those site revisits. So for instance, an example may be I traverse around a city block, and as I do that, I'm not only doing my robotic operations that I would normally do, but I'm also scanning and capturing imagery. So anything that was missed by the field crew when they bring that data back in the office can be captured and measured within TBC using the imaging tools within that product. So if we review that, that gives us a lot of different applications for an instrument like this. A traditional scanner is used just for scanning. So if I have a scan job, I take it out, I use it, and it's done, it sits in the office. This type of product can be used every single day. So it can be used for scan projects, it could be used for topographic general survey projects, corridor surveys, volume surveys, obviously, and then all kinds of other surveys, whether it's forensics, mining, tank calibration inspection, ALTA surveys, monitoring, dimensional control, you name it. It is a full-rounded instrument that can be used in many applications. So let's take a look at some of the technology behind an instrument like this, starting with the new Trimble 3DM technology. This has also been added to the scanners, as we'll talk about here a little bit, but this is the most advanced EDM technology that Trimble's ever come up with. I think their EDM technology in the S-Series total stations, which was introduced about, well, the DR300 was introduced well over 15 years ago, and then the DR Plus technology was introduced about 8 years ago. Both of those technologies have been awesome EDM technologies, and this takes it one step further. So basically it allows you to capture 3D scanning, prism and reflectorless measurements all within one piece of equipment. So again, I mentioned the smallest EDM spot size in the market for high accuracy survey work with full prism and DR capabilities, as well as the ability to use it in robotic mode for tracking and things of that nature. True high-speed laser long-range scanning. So basically a full dome in 12 minutes or less. Scans are automatically registered, like I said before. There's no need to set up a bunch of targets and things like that, which we would normally do with a traditional scanner. And then one of the longest ranges in the market with a true range of 600 meters. You can see in this image here, shooting several city blocks. It's truly a long range EDM because of the other technologies. It's not just a scanning EDM. And then I'll talk about the complete integration with the enhanced vision system here a little bit. And by the way, this is just introduced to us last week, so I'm sure there's going to be some questions. And I'm sure I'm not going to hit all the highlights because I don't know a lot about the instrument other than what we were told last week and some of the things that we're able to gather. We don't have this instrument in our hands yet, so so stay tuned for even more information on this new solution. One of the other technologies is we've been talking about vision for quite a while. It's been in Trimble's instrumentation for quite some time. Ability to take photos, create a live video feed through the objective of the total station. This is just the next evolution or step in that vision technology, so now we're taking it into the next realm with the fully integrated calibrated camera system. Ability to preparation, documentation, and measurement capabilities from multiple perspectives, and that's really a huge benefit of this instrument, as you'll see here in just a moment. So again, high resolution aiming, real good precision because of that. You can see in this upper right window, looking through the live video feed on your controller at a prism, to be able to dial in that prism that's several hundred meters away at a much higher resolution. I'll give you some other examples of that. And then what you would see from a traditional objective. So if I'm looking through the eyepiece, the 30 or 32 power eyepiece, there's only so much effective range that I can get, and my visualization skills aren't as good as a camera system like you will see here. There's also a camera Plummet, as you see here in the bottom right. That's the camera Plummet, so you can use a traditional optical Plummet as well, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But the camera Plummet gives you a couple of other things that you would not normally get. One is the biggest one being quality control, the ability to take a snapshot of that image and save it, and that actually shows how well you're over the point, your levelness, and then you'll see here in a moment maybe some other information that you'd want about your instrument setup. And then one of the things within the vision system is an advanced auto-lock tracking system, which I'll talk about here in a moment. A couple other things, as you see in this, again, this top right image, a wide angle overview from either the overview or primary camera. That's two different cameras. It gives you a panorama ability with point cloud colorization and site documentation, obviously, with the panorama. There's also a coaxial telescope camera, which allows for precise pointing and measuring and documenting of measured objects, if you wish. The Plummet camera, and then the advanced tracker camera, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So this is the advanced camera tracking auto-lock measurements. It gives us an effective range of auto-lock, a much longer range than what we would normally get with the traditional instrument. But basically it's a new level of intelligent prism tracking, as you can see in this image, with a couple of false targets in the image with these reflections. It doesn't track those because it's using the images of the prism as its targeting system. So that's what it's looking for. It's not necessarily looking for just a reflective surface. So this minimizes loss of lock and obviously false tracking. Here's a look at the objective, as you would call it, of the instrument. The larger lens that you see there is a telescopic camera, which I'll kind of show you what that looks like. And then you have a primary and an overview camera for some of your scanning capabilities and imagery. So this is a really interesting set of pictures here. So I'm going to spend a moment on this. If you look at the image here on your left, which is the Trimble S7 30 power telescope, if I was going to look through that telescope at this height of this arch and maybe take a DR measurement, or maybe have a prism up there I'm trying to locate, this is what I'm going to see. If I take a look at the SX10 using the telescopic camera, and this is level 6 out of 8, there's actually 2 more refined levels that you can zoom in on. You can see that the ability to view something at a much farther distance is a lot easier with the SX10 for multiple reasons. One is I don't have a limitation of 30 power of magnification. I don't have eye strain And then lastly, I just have the ability to zoom in with a camera and take an image or look through the image of the instrument at a much higher resolution. So that's what you're seeing here with these two photos. Really displays the power of using a telescopic camera over traditional optics. I mentioned earlier a little bit on the Trimble SX10 that has a Plummet camera as well for site documentation. You can see the bottom image here shows a picture of a brass cap, and then it has a time and date stamp. It has my sighting and trunnion level, air, the compensator was on or off, my station point, my code, my antenna height, or excuse me, my instrument height, temperature and pressure, and a part per million. That's all documented. So if I wanted to take a snapshot of my level bubble as it's, or excuse me, my optical plummet as it's over my point, I can do that, and it would provide all of this quality control information and download that for me into TBC when I'm done at the end of the day. So again, it gives me a higher quality control of my instrument station. This is very useful not only for robotic instrument measurements, but also for scanning and things like that, where we're looking for a very high precision. But they include, with this instrument, a new split optics tribrac. So you can set up the tribrac on the tripod, get over your point, sight it in, get it in as good as you want, and then put the SX10 on top of the tribrac and look through your video and do fine adjustments and take your documentation snapshot. So best of both worlds, so to speak. You can see in some of this stuff that, quite honestly, there's a lot of thought put into this. There was a lot of thought when Trimble came out with the S6 total station, and they replaced the geodometer robotic total stations, and now you can see there's a lot of thought put into this instrument as well, covering a lot of the bases that we want, and just really taking into account the surveyor's mentality and what they have to do to make sure that things are very precise. Next, if we just review the instrument communications on this device, Wi-Fi is the primary communication method. So you'd be using your tablet at a close range, say 10, 20, 30 feet from your instrument, using Wi-Fi. That gives us a lot of abilities. It provides a very fast transfer of scans and images. This is a traditional method of a lot of the scanners out there as well. Uses Wi-Fi to communicate to the laptop, typically it's a laptop or something like that in the field. So fast transfer of scans, images, and the video. But we also have the long-range radio that we would have in an S7, same radio. So no different connection to your tablet, used for longer total station measurements and robotic operations. And then you obviously have a cabled USB connection as well for again, quick connection to the instrument, maybe updates to the instrument, as well as running the instrument in a scan or video type of imaging situation. And then you can see just a quick matrix here at the bottom for Wi-Fi and the traditional long-range radio. And then also want to just point out that this is built on proven technologies that we've had in place now for a while. The Trimble Mag Drive system is what it uses to operate for fast, quick, efficient operation. It uses Trimble SurePoint to maintain stability and accuracy over points, especially in areas where there's movement or wind or things like that. And then lastly, we still have the ability to run integrated surveying just like you would. And you see kind of that in the, hopefully you can see it, in the top right image with the SX up on a tripod, and it's sighted towards the prism with an R10 on top of it. Truly integrated surveying. So again, running an integrated survey is not a problem with the Trimble SX10. Now, before we continue, I just want to point out one thing. This instrument, there's in Trimble's presentation to us, there's like 90 slides, and that was maybe, what, 20? So I really condensed a lot of information here because I want to keep this within an hour. But really, this instrument really has a pure scanning workflow, and it is certainly not a robotic total station replacement, but it's the ability to have a scanner in your fleet that can operate like a robotic total station, so it can be used every single day. So with that introduction of the Trimble SX10, which I'll have to say when I talked to my staff the other day about it, I was pretty excited. And I'm excited today as well because it is really a piece of equipment that isn't in the market today. So can see a lot of uses for it, and hopefully those of you that are in attendance here today can see that as well. With that introduction, we have this common workflow theme that I've been talking about. Trimble Access 2016.1 has also been introduced with this new platform. A couple of highlights of this new introduction or this new version of Access is the Access Vision, which I'll talk about, the ability to use gesture controls, how we utilize a Plummet documentation, combining survey and scan workflow with a pure scanning workflow now within Trimble Access, which we never really had before. And obviously the ability to connect to this new instrument is also in 2016.1. As you can see from this image on the left, we have the ability now with Access Vision to have a live video feed and take a measurement at the same time, which is extremely powerful. It gives us confidence in the field that we're targeted to the right prism. And it shows our points as we measure them. It shows us in the field as well as just your traditional point measurement information. So that's what Access Vision is, basically giving you this split screen. Split screen was introduced in Trimble Access 2016 as the ability to go into the map screen and have the map screen and measure point screen open at the same time. What Access Vision is really doing is taking that to the next level and allow you to see visually through the telescope of the instrument to the prism or your live video feed at the same time as your measurement screen. And this video or map display can be done not only in just regular measuring points, but it can be done in measure codes, KOGO, stakeout, to provide immediate visual feedback to the user. This is what it may look like in stakeout. So you can see that you can have both the map open and stakeout at the same time, or the video and stakeout at the same time. So it is not regulated by one or the other. So huge improvement to Trimble Access, great feature. This also allows vision search during stakeout, which is extremely helpful. So if you lose the prism for some reason, you go behind a building or some vehicles go by and you lose the instrument, instead of you having to do a new search routine, you can use your vision search, as you can see in the lower left image, to get right back on the target. Next, in 2016, there are gesture controls. So similar to how you would use your iPad or your iPhone or your smartphone to move around an image, we can do that now in Trimble Access 20.1. So anytime we're in the image view, whether it's live video screen or image panning rotation of the data, zooming in, zooming out, using this this gesture controls is now supported in 2016.1. This also could be used to turn the instrument, which is really, really effective. So again, if the instrument, you walked around the building, the instrument's pointing the wrong direction, you can pan it over using using your finger. Next, support for Plummet camera documentation. Again, this is what we saw earlier, giving you visual and automatic quality information about your setup. Again, documenting that you're over the point, collecting that information, storing it, including a instrument height. Okay, moving on to, and again, I see that there's some questions coming in the chat window. I would really get confused on where I'm at and how to conduct the rest of the webinar if I go back and forth, so I'm going to save those until the end. So, so keep sending in your questions and we'll do our best to answer them, but we're going to answer those as we get to the end, okay? All right, Trimble Business Center 3.80 is also introduced here this week. Basically giving you full data integration with the workflow processes that we talked about. So some of the highlights are going to be a new scanning module, third-party hardware support, which I'll talk about in a moment, some customized reporting, which a lot of you will be extremely happy about because we've been asking for that since day one, I think. So that's very exciting. Enhanced CAD workflows, improved CAD and GIS interoperability, which is what we're asking for a lot, and then some KOGO updates. So first of all, the new TBC scanning module, again, that gives you complete data integration within one piece of software. Cloud registration, refinement, geo-referencing, network adjustment is all in this module. With deliverables for CAD, automatically classifying your point clouds, doing ground extraction from your clouds, and cutting planes are all supported within this module. This is not a replacement for any other like Realworks software. This is just enhancements to TBC so that you can do a lot of your scan work within that one piece of software and not have to run multiple pieces of software. Again, these are just some of the highlights of the TBC scanning module. Some of the other things that you can do, obviously you have some navigation and rendering views, but you have limit boxes, segmentation, and region management within the software, as well as standard industry import and exports using E57 LAS formats, and then Cyclone CloudWorks exports to PTS, BTX files as well as supported. One of the things that Trimble's been working on for a little while is third-party support of other sensor data like Leica, Topcon, Carlson, StarNet, and other total station RTK data. So that's being done now within this new release of TBC using Python scripting. Aerial images are able to be brought in via UIS master, and then again we just talked about the scan file formats that are supported. So third-party support is one of the things that Trimble is trying to enhance to allow companies to bring all of their field data, even if they're running a mixed fleet, into one piece of software. Customized reporting is now supported fully within TBC in this release. I would I hate to say it this way, but I would kind of liken this to some of the customized reporting that we were able to do in TGO. So a lot of that functionality that we took a lot of time, or at least our TGO users are on the call today, that took a lot of time to create these customized reports. We can now really do that fully. We could do some of it in previous releases, but we can really do it fully now with this customized reporting tool. And that's using a Word type of format, so it's a traditional, easy-to-use, industry standard format. Huge feature. All right, one of the other features is creating KOGO and map check closures now within the grid and ground systems of TBC. So there's also some new line in our methods. But misclosure, like you can see kind of in this image, it's tough to see some of that. But again, basically geometry, coordinate geometry, and reporting misclosure of your data sets. So you can see with 3.8, there's a lot of complete field to finish workflows within that release, scanning module, some of the customized reporting, the KOGO features, and third-party support, giving users a lot of capabilities to create a complete field-to-finish workflow within one software. And really working hard towards that. A couple of other new releases that I do want to make mention of on the scanning side. They introduced a new scanner called the TX6 and made some improvements to the existing TX8 scanner that I want to address. Some of them are highlighted here below. Again, this is a high-speed laser scanner where we're scanning several hundreds of thousands of points per second, or even up to 1 million points per second. So a new internal HDR camera is introduced in these two products, as well as integrated wireless LAN. It is using the recognized lightning technology, the 3DM technology that I talked about in the SX10, the same EDM in these, with effective extended range options. So a couple of things on the new HDR camera on these two scanners. Basically, standard less than 1 minute or HDR and 2 minute type of imagery, so very fast. 10 megapixel camera, and the HDR is basically taking 18 pictures for its 360 scan. Final resolution is similar to a TX8 one-level scan with very little impact on field productivity because the images are taken so quickly. Previous TX8 scanners did not have a camera whatsoever, so this is a huge improvement to that particular piece of equipment. The ability to operate wirelessly, just like we can now with the SX10. Same capabilities here. Recommended range 15 to 25 meters, so you can basically set up your scanner, jump in the truck, sit in the laptop, and scan, and control the scanner. It does support wireless through other third-party devices, so you can run a Trimble tablet, or you can even run an iOS type of tablet or phone even. Same with Android. Here's just a little matrix on the differences. So the major differences between these two scanners is TX8 will scan a little bit farther range, as well as its effective scanning speed is much faster. And it does have a high precision mode that the TX6 does not have, which allows for 1 millimeter resolution or range noise. A couple other things. There is no upgrade from the TX6 to the TX8. And the TX8 does have a basic survey workflow on the scanner itself. Using a tri-brack with an optical plummet, it's not something that can be done with the TX6. So the TX6 is a traditional scanner using spheres and things like that, targets to register its scans. A couple other things I just want to touch on before we do a Q&A. Trimble Realworks 10.2 has been introduced, obviously to support these new products, as well as to create an interoperability called TDX with Trimble Business Center, so that I can operate with the data sets in and out of the softwares. So that's a huge improvement for Trimble Realworks. There's other things within Trimble Realworks 10.2. For those of you that are interested, we can get you release notes for more details on that. And then lastly, almost lastly, some new cloud services. Locate to Protect has been out there for a little while. One thing that they're doing as an incentive for anybody that purchases a total station, I do believe this is through the rest of the year, and you get all the details on this, unfortunately. But you receive your first year of L2P or Locate to Protect free with the total station. And they also introduced an all-track cloud solution for asset tracking. So again, these are new solutions that are available via cloud services, and more information on these will probably follow, especially at Trimble Dimensions here coming up in November. They also did introduce, for those of you that are interested, some mobile scanning imaging software suites. Basically, this new Trimble MX software suite is a new software suite to make it easier to work with mobile scan or mobile image data. The biggest one being the publisher there at the bottom, which has data sharing and collaboration between other softwares using a plugin so that it can connect directly to Autodesk and ESRI for data extraction. This is a huge plus for those of you that are using mobile scan data to essentially take that scan data and pull out some of your information directly into Autodesk or ESRI using these plugins. So again, to recap, the real big highlight here is the new Trimble SX10 scanning total station, working seamlessly with existing solutions that we have today, whether it's an integrated survey with a GNSS receiver or it's a scanner using a traditional workflow and Trimble Access and TBC to process that data. There is a video. I was going to play it at the beginning, but as I kind of watched the time, I want to leave a little bit of time for questions. So I'm going to leave that link up here for a few minutes. So those of you that want to take that down, and you can go watch the video. It's about a 2 or 3 minute video, and you can see the instrument in action. If we have some time right at the end, I'll play it. But otherwise, I do see some questions popping in, so I want to address those first and make sure we get those covered. So with that, what we'll do is we will go to some of the questions, if I can get through them. Okay, is a traditional collector required to run these, or are they mobile device capable now? So right now the SX10 is supported by Trimble Access and Trimble Access on a tablet. So you have to be running a Trimble tablet to run the SX10. So to answer the question directly, traditional iPads and Android devices are not supported yet. How do temperature fluctuations affect the accuracy and the draw of the battery power? So the draw and the battery power are similar to what you would see with a traditional S-Series total station. It operates about 2 to 3 hours on full scan mode on one single battery, or you can run the triple battery holder that comes in the robotic power kit and operate up to 8 hours or so. So it does draw a little bit more than a traditional S-Series total station, and the same effectiveness that you would have with cold weather and things like that will also draw the power a little bit more, just like you would with a S-Series total station. I will note though that the temperature specs on this instrument are the same as the Trimble S6 or S7, so it is rated down to -4 below operating range. Can the camera Plummet measure the instrument height? So this is one question that's a very good question. It's actually one that we've had as well, and I haven't got the direct answer on it yet. We're trying to get clarification, and we're hoping to get it before we did the webinar, but we did not. No, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play this video, so you guys can see it work a little bit. And again, these things are available online.
When you go out to purchase an instrument, the first thing that you have to think about is if I'm going to make money with it. The SX10 has proved to us that it's able to make us money, it's able to be more efficient. It's a game changer. It truly is. When setting up the SX10 for the first time, we realized that it wasn't a conventional instrument. It was something a lot more.
This unit, I am totally amazed.
The SX10 is the highest piece of equipment I've ever used.
By having the video available for you to see where it's looking at any time, changed everything in the field.
There's not another total station on the market that is like this.
You gather once all the kind of data you need, because this is not only a total station, this is a laser scanner and a camera.
The SX10's efficiencies in the field allow us to have a quicker ROI than any two instruments that we've looked at in the past.
I've been here for half an hour and I have everything that I need. Scanning data, I have photos. It was fantastic.
The beauty of this SX10 solution is that the workflow in the field and the office doesn't change much at all.
There was no learning curve. We were able to put practices in place that we currently have in the field with the current software. We were able to be productive and profitable instantaneously.
We will definitely be more efficient in providing what the customer needs.
Definitely something that will revive our whole industry.
Trimble's an innovator. They've leaped ahead of the competition and the competition scrambled to try to catch up. The SX10 is one of those instruments that they leaped ahead of the competition.
If you watched in some of the video where the instrument was scanning, you'll notice that it is truly scanning. So the objective, the scanner does not stop like you would see in a traditional total station that does scanning. In this particular instrument, it runs like a traditional scanner, and the speed again is 26,000 points per second. So it's absolutely incredible that it can do that. And then, oh, by the way, I need to use it as a robot tomorrow. You can do that. So, so pretty cool. Okay. So I do have a couple of questions about cost. So I will give you the cost of the instrument. Trimble has put the cost at $39,900. So $39,900, just below $40K for the SX10. Does it require Realworks to process or image scan? Sorry, I may have missed that. No, it does not. You can process and do all of your imagery and scan data within TBC. You do not need Realworks. Does it export process point clouds based on traditional survey control? Yes, that was one of the key features as well. It's using a traditional workflow because you're operating the instrument with Trimble Access. So, so all the point data, all the point cloud data, including your total station data, your control data, everything is on that same coordinate system. Traditional survey workflow. Where's the scan data stored? It is definitely stored in the tablet. And not in the scanner or not in the SX10. So all your data is stored in your job file, just like a traditional Trimble Access file. A couple of other points. When would Trimble Access and TBC be available? I would say that you're looking at the first week in November, and Wes can correct me if I'm wrong, or one of the other guys. I thought I saw November on that.
I think you're correct there, Steve.
Okay, thank you. How much capacity do the tablets have? That's a good question. I don't have my spec sheet for the tablet in front of me either. Wes, do you know what this spec on the tablet is for memory?
I was just going to pull that up.
While you're looking that up, again, I do want to stress one thing. You're measuring 26,000 points per second, not like a traditional scanner that's measuring 1,000,000 points per second. So yes, your file size is, it is running at a much higher rate than you would traditionally see, but your file size isn't going to be quite as large as you would see in a traditional scanner. But we'll look that up here and get that for you in just a moment.
The Trimble tablet, it has a 1.6 gigahertz processor. It has 4 gigabytes of memory and 128 gigabytes of storage.
Yeah, and keep in mind you can use a jump drive with a tablet and pull data off if you feel like it's getting to be too large of files. What is included in that cost, and what is the cost of everything needed to work? So for the $39,900, that's the Trimble SX10 scanner. That doesn't include a power kit because you have several choices there. It doesn't include the prism, and it doesn't include the tablet. So if you include those items, tablet, prism, power kit, and a rod, I would say you're at $49.9, so something like that. Do you anticipate any trade-in discounts, trade-in of existing total stations? They haven't implemented any plans as of yet, but if any promotions come out on it, we'll definitely let you know. But at this point, nothing yet. But I would just say talk to your sales rep, because you know, we do take trades in, especially on existing S6s and S6 type instruments, because we have a demand for that. So I would just talk to your sales rep about it. But there's nothing yet. TBC Trimble is a scanning module, an add-on to advanced. The scanning module, as we saw it, was introduced to us, is an add-on to advanced at this point. Correct. But you can bundle it together. There are some bundles that they provide, but the scanning module for TBC is a add-on to advanced. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, Wes.
I believe you're correct.
I'll maybe
on that
have
one
you
as well, but
look that up to confirm. All right, just to make sure. Cost on the tablet with Trimble Access with an internal radio tablet is $84.95 list price. Is that right? I'm not as good on the prices as that's why I have Straight Man West on here with me.
$82.95.
$82.95. Sorry. So $82.95. Does the scan data stay on the total station or wirelessly transfer the tablet? Yes, it does wirelessly transfer the tablet. All your scan data is within your job file information. That's all on your tablet. The data is not stored on the SX10. If you're using a TX6 or TX8, you're not using Trimble Access, so the data is stored on those scanners, but not the SX10. Can you do point cloud work with just TBC? The point is, Neil is making the point. You are correct. You can do some point cloud work with just TBC Advanced. What I think we'll do to answer these differences between the module and TBC Advanced is when we send out the recording of this broadcast, we'll also add on there the TBC matrix, so it shows you all the features of all the modules. So hopefully that helps everybody understand the capabilities of the scan module and then what's just included in TBC Advanced. But yes, you can do some scan point cloud work without the scan module. Jay, you're saying, however, it may not be needed. The module may not be needed with this because of the tools that are being added into TBC Advanced. So again, I think that's the point here. What we'll do is when we send out the recording, we will add on the module matrix feature so everybody can see that. Those are good questions. I think I answered all of them. Yeah, what Jay is saying, thanks Jay, the module is more for registration purposes with traditional scanners and not your traditional workflow work, point cloud downloading and exporting to other formats. That should be able to be done right with the TBC Advanced. So we'll make sure we include those matrices to qualify that when we send out the recording. But very good question. Awesome. Well, I do appreciate everybody taking the time today. We're coming up against the clock, and it looks like those are all the questions. With that, I think what we'll do is we'll stop the recording, and